So we are here for our last breakout session, and what we're talking about is the future of technology. The people I have on my panel are Eric Broughton from Inhabit IQ, Ryan Bailey, my mind doesn't work anymore, from Travel Net Solutions, also known as Track, and we're still working on your brand, and Jeremy Gall from Breezeway. And I hate doing this because I think it's dumb, but in this case, I think it's worth discussing, like kind of a little bit about what your backgrounds are and how long you've been in this space. Eric, especially, you're kind of a new face for us. Super nice guy, but has really more of a travel background than I think people realize, and more of a connected background with some other people in our space, especially people like Jeremy that people know. And just tell us about how you got to Inhabit IQ and what your goals are there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go back not too far. I grew up on a farm in South Dakota. No, I won't start. But yeah, exactly. A lot of stories there. But I was in multifamily in the residential side. Started out with Morgan Stanley Real Estate, and then built up some platforms. During the financial crisis, we changed our charter and built some platforms and built a software as a service platform for the basically tracking marketing. And then built a company, sold to RealPage, who owns Kigo, and then I was president of one of their divisions. Left and turned around a company for Red McCombs in San Antonio. Sold that to RealPage as well, but I didn't stay with RealPage at that time because I had this concept that I just couldn't shake. And I heard all of these executives that own billions of dollars of real estate being very frustrated with Airbnb. I have these residents that are just sharing my units, they're putting it on an Airbnb, and I feel like I'm owning an auto dealership and Uber drivers are driving away with my cars. And they were very mad. And you don't want to make billionaires mad because they do something about it. So we built a platform called Apartment Jet and really brought the vacation industry to the multifamily industry. So getting Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, these different groups to make profit and to be an entree. And that's where Expedia Group bought our platform. Bought that, and I reported to Jeff Hurst at Verbo, great guy. Worked with that team and John Kim. And then as unfortunately when the economy, when pandemic hit, had to shut down our division. That gave me an opportunity to join Inhabit. So really excited there, have this unique opportunity to bring residential and the vacation together. So about 4 years of vacation industry experience with this residential. All right.
So when you joined Inhabit IQ, you took on that role. How did that happen? How did you connect with those guys? Did you know them before? And
I did. I've known several individuals already at Inhabit, especially in the residential side. So I had friends that were already executives there, and I'd been in conversations in partnerships. And even at Expedia, I was fortunate to get to know Streamline, even on the corporate housing side and some other things Carlos and the team had done. And then I was really appreciative of what they were building. And as was the approach as well at Inhabit, because one of the companies that sold to RealPage, one of their initiatives, as soon as they buy up a company, they gut it, they bring it in and make it theirs. And what Inhabit does is when you buy a company, you leave them on their own and continue to grow and prosper.
Tell us what you've bought so far. Some people may not know all the brands under Inhabit
on
the vacation real side.
Yeah,
you don't have to do multi.
Need to figure out all of them. Yeah, exactly. Blue Tent, Q4 launch, BizCore, Streamline, which RevMax is on stage. Thank you, and they're splitting out. We also have LiveRes. We have Streamline. And we have VRM, not VRM Intel, but Virtual Resort Manager. We have Super Control in the UK. We have Rental Guardian. And then I think I'm missing on an LSI. All right, Scott the Legend. And Lindbrook Payments, thank you.
What did you guys pay for LiveRes?
Not enough. It's an amazing company.
Thought I could sneak that one in while you were like on a roll. Still dying to know.
I love it.
Thought I was being slick.
Yeah, you almost did.
Should have doubled it.
Yeah, should pay more.
Should have paid more. That's what I hear. About what are you looking to buy?
Opportunity. We're because there's mostly private equity investment. There's a lot of the EBITDA opportunity. I think part of the thing here, you're looking around at different groups and what's really valuable. So it's really about actually the people in the audience telling us what they need. And looking at that, I think there's some fascinating companies. Hey, we're on the panel with some. I think revenue management, as we're talking about, is very important. Fortunately, we have our own. I think there's some companies that in the hosting space and supporting the groups are very important. But fortunately, we have a very strong platform in vacation, so feel pretty good. I frankly spend a lot more time in the M&A and the residential and commercial side right now.
Okay, got it. And one, I'll come back to that.
Oh, this is great. We'll get to you guys later.
Yes.
Hi,
So
Amy.
Ryan.
Hi. Yeah.
Bum, bum,
I
bum.
love it.
Yeah. Hi,
Okay,
Amy.
you've been here longer than people know. You've been around with resorts and lodges
Yeah.
before.
We've been-
When I first started
Nope.
talking to you, you weren't going to build software.
Hmm.
You started it and you were like, I don't want to do this. Tell us how you ended up with Track and how you got into the space.
Okay. Well, we've been in the space for about 20 years. My brother and I and another guy started a booking engine company in 99, 2000. And we got that primarily into boutique hotels, fishing lodges, right? We're up from Minnesota. So we got some booking engines on some good old fishing lodges and some mom and pop, resorts and whatnot. But throughout our history, we've made a crack at it. Res Tracker was our first cloud-based property management system we built in 04 and 05. We failed at that, so that's part of our story. But in April 2003, we acquired a site called resortsandlodges.com, and that was kind of one of our breakthroughs. And we built that site up from about 180,000 visitors to 7 million. And along the journey, we've built Phonalytics, which is a call tracking company, marketing tracking. And so we've always built tools and products to help serve our customers' needs and challenges. So we've been doing it over 20 years. And about 2014, we acquired a company called Resortzilla. And they had about 5 installs down in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge. And that is now Track. And our whole idea was we were going to re-platform that from Resortzilla and then build an entire platform with a property management system, a CRM, and a contact center solution, all natively built within one application. And so that was the genesis to where we're at today from how we started.
We saw in that video from Steve Milo that your logo was on that too, with V-Trips. Is there a partnership between you and V-Trips, and should we look for a future SPAC combo between a V-Trips and a Track?
Yeah, I think part of his journey and our journey that aligns is this whole thought about digital transformation. And when we think about digital transformation, I think about it as it's the opportunity of our generation. And that aligns with innovation because it's really enabling property management companies with tech. And I think there's been a tremendous amount of innovation in our space the last decade. And I think that's ballooned a lot of our property management companies up with 20, 30 different systems. And I think through digital transformation, I think we're moving to more platforms rather than just products. I think enterprises buy platforms, smaller companies buy products. And I think that aligns with Steve's vision really, really well. And we launched a lot of new companies on the Track platform in the last 18 months, and Steve went live Monday. So we're pretty excited about that. We launched his first 1,800, and then his other companies will launch over the next 3 months. So he'll launch over 3,000, and hopefully with his $250 million, he continues to buy up more companies and continues to move them onto our Track platform. So we're pretty excited about that.
And you went live this week. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, he went live this week.
How's that going?
It's non-eventful. So if you're in the implementation business of launching software, and if it's not eventful, that's a good thing. So I'm really happy that.
Well, you're welcome for bringing him here, too.
Yeah, and
keeping him occupied.
Steve has not been texting me or running me down, chasing me down, telling me I'm terrible and I'm horrible. So he actually hugged me.
Well, and he's not telling us that you're terrible, so that's a big step. That's a win. Take the W.
Right?
It's brave, very brave.
Thank you. Actually, his whole persona he is great
Humble.
hugger, and yeah.
So what we've got up here, too, is we've got this private equity roll-up of multiple tech companies. Then we've got this all-in-one independent operator. But then we've also got a best-in-class, kind of a tool set that could also potentially become software. You certainly have all the makings of moving into property management software. Jeremy, most people know you from founding FlipKey back in 2008.
Yeah, about that. Yep. Hello.
Yeah. Then he sold to TripAdvisor, and TripAdvisor basically killed FlipKey. And then you went to the most difficult. You went from this whole high multiple where everyone pretty much thought all the money was, you know, from the OTA world, and then decided to go to work order, housekeeping, maintenance, software. I'm like, how did you end up like did you just want a challenge? Like, life's too easy?
Yeah, Amy, I think you told me I was crazy. A lot of other people did. I don't know, I think that's where
I was wrong.
Well, I think, no, it's hard. It is a messy part of the business, but I think that's where the value is. And I think, you know, it's not about just where the multiples are. I think you're right. Like, marketplace businesses, incredible multiples. Setting up a business where you're going to be taking a percentage of the bookings, revenue management, et cetera, like going where the money is, makes a lot of sense. But I think part of digital transformation is also, you know, times are changing. Like field task management, the role of a property manager, I think, you know, people who suffered through listening to me before, like I think services is where it's at. And like, that's the future of this industry. And if you can crack that, which a lot of people haven't, and you know, we're partners with both these companies, and the property management software systems provide really good functionality for that internally within the platform. But it's a mess. It's hard. It's super hard. And so, you know, there's room to optimize that and really change people's business.
So going back to when you founded FlipKey, was that your first jaunt in the vacation rental industry, and how did you get there?
Yeah, we went to a Vacation Rental Managers Association meeting. There's a lot of twists and turns to getting there, but I think, you know, we settled on, we'd like to think about where we can deliver value to customers, right? And like, if you can do that clearly and consistently, you can create a business, and you can, you know, and a sustainable business. And I think in 2006, 2007, what was going on at the same time HomeAway was rolling up companies. You were getting, you know, social commerce was a thing. People were starting to review everything. There weren't guest reviews. And it just felt like there was a real miss and a misalignment between like, how is a property manager or even a really good self-managing owner, how do you prove to the rest of the world that you're actually good at that? And guest reviews played a real role in that. And there was a hole that we thought we could deliver value in, and we did. There's more twists to that, but that's the short story.
Ryan, both you and Jeremy used the term digital transformation. It's kind of a new term right now. What does that really mean to you, and what's that going to mean for our industry?
I think I think digital transformation, I mean, it's such a tremendous opportunity of this generation, because I think the patience of employees, owners, and guests, and just humans is, we just don't have patience for companies any longer that can't truly influence the human condition and the human experience. And we see a lot of that. I mean, look at DoorDash, 10 minutes you have food, right? I mean, the speed and the acceleration that we see is pretty incredible. And for me, I think in our industry, it's moving towards more platform. And I think the well-established platforms will be clearly defined here in the next several years. And I think the truly defining platforms will set the standard for the industry and will accelerate the ecosystem greater than I think the industry's ever seen before. You know, so I think it's moving more towards, I see even his product as an operations platform. You know, so I think it's more moving towards platforms than a plethora of a myriad of, I'm using 20 or 30 different tools or services, and I have employees logging in and out of all these tools and APIs, and data's not working, and the user experience doesn't all hang together. Like, I think that's all being digitally transformed into platform, and it's not an or. It's not like, well, I'm an all-in-one solution, or I'm completely best of breed. Like, to me, it's Jim Collins, what he says in Good to Great and Entrepreneur 2.0. It's the function of and. You can use Track as your backbone, your all-in-one platform, and you can still use Breezeway, right? So you can use a platform, and you can then use maybe 2 or 3 other main softwares to drive the value for your business. You know, to get out of 20 or 30 different systems is a huge consolidation down to 2 or 3 or 4. And that allows companies to accelerate, because we all have to accelerate more than ever before, because all this money's coming in and we have to keep innovating. Otherwise, we're not going to have the advantage that maybe we thought.
Yeah, same question for you.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything Ryan's saying. I think there's, on a practical level too, it's like, using this in the field, using your phone, using your personal phone, using your company phone in the field, is still like a new thing. Like the services and field management software is still developing, not only in this industry, but across the board, and like blue collar work being done digitally, the combination of those two things is super, super powerful. It's really powerful. We heard it, I was talking about this morning. We heard it yesterday in the Dave Levine, the futurist, talking about like what you can do. And it's like, how do you make life faster and easier for yourself? How do you make your customers feel that? How do you make your owners feel that? And some of that's human capital, and some of that is technology.
So like that whole, the Domino's campaign, 0 clicks given, that he was pointing out, that was hilarious. I was kind of trying to think, like this whole terms of where people are headed right now. When you look at hiring people, all of you, are you seeing a difference in people's ability to actually think? I don't know how to, I'm trying to think of a better way to say that. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean? Like this requires like some sense of intelligence, you know what I mean? At this stage right now, this digital transformation hasn't exactly happened yet. So there's still a lot of human interaction. We've seen a lot of revenue management tools, data tools. Like the amount of revenue managers that are using Q data like effectively and really monitoring that, actually they're probably all here, in Charleston this week. Like, I just wonder, not only just hiring this in terms of training your clients and stuff like that, is there a mind shift with newer employees, newer client, you know what I mean? God, I hate to say it. I don't mean they're dumber. I'm just saying that they're like, is there less ability to think through problems?
It's a
Critical
different
thinking.
skill set. It's, can you find somebody that's going to do change anymore? Oh, here's $5. That was $4.62. Oh my goodness, lost. It's going to happen. And I have 3 daughters. 2 are teenage, one's in their early 20s. It's a different knowledge. And to your point, it's not dumb, but it's evolved a little bit. And I want to go back to the digital transformation part of it, is that we've done an amazing job in our industry, because I doubt there's anybody in this room that still does reservation cards, right? It's kind of, you're using a property management system, you're building upon that. And because we built that foundation, now we can have a revenue management conference and a data conference, because we built that foundation. And then you build upon that. So we're going to continue to build upon these. And something, eventually you might have the AI conference, and AI is jumping in, and it's not exactly replacing people. AI is not going to do it for a little while, robotics. We can't do cleaning our units and providing fresh linens. But back to your question about the quality, it is difficult in this environment, and also the work from home type individuals, and also the manual labor as well, because that's the reality of managing properties.
What are you guys finding when you're hiring and training?
Yeah, I think people, it's a different skill set. I think for our clients though, I think as they think about how these digital tools and that technology gets brought into their business, I think property managers don't get enough credit for being tech forward and really embracing technology for their job.
I also think some of the big companies get too much credit for being tech forward.
Oh yeah. Not naming names though, right?
Not naming names.
How big? Just really big ones?
Well, I mean, one that put
Like
in
the-
their
like the
recent
one really big,
deck
like the biggest-
that they're
like the
a
biggest one?
platform, and it's like you're a vacation rental management company. Platform, maybe not.
That's for
Yeah.
your multiples. So
Right.
that's a Wall Street thing.
But I think
Everybody's a platform now.
Absolutely.
By the way, VR Intel's a platform.
but I think it is like, it's just a different way to, I think even we see it where you'll see like a director of operations who has been in vacation rental management for 20 years, right? Even those folks, they've been doing this job, they are willing and understanding about how their job has to evolve, and they evolve alongside those tools. Yeah, some people can be reticent and uncomfortable with change, of course. But I think people in the industry deserve a lot of credit and we see this with clients and onboarding. Most people are they are embracing tools that are going to make their job easier, right? A human could sit there and could crunch, 10 different multivariable things on a spreadsheet about who's the right person to go clean that one property over there on Saturday. or you could have a computer take that and like really crunch all that information for them and provide smart suggestions and alleviate some of the stress of their job.
See, that's kind of where I think we're in the middle of that transformation that you guys are talking about. These smart suggestions are not quite smart yet. So it's like, I just wonder how long will we see some backing off of that before we see some going forward, or do you think we'll just plow forward with the not so smart suggestions that we have right now?
I'll go super quick and then I want to hear, but like, I think you saw some of it in the Wheelhouse presentation, right? Which is like, first it was trust me, now it's audit me. And it's like, let's show you the responses and let's clue you into the data. And if it's a dumb suggestion, let's grab the feedback and let's make it better. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen quicker than you think. It's not going to be magic. Robots aren't going to be mopping floors and taking everything away from everybody. But like the efficiency gains, turn after turn, season after season, are stacking up. I think quicker than most people will expect.
Yeah, it's gonna continue to accelerate. I mean, with more and more data and getting access to more and more data, machine learning, AI is gonna continue to get smarter, and the mistakes are all in the world of tech. They're all iterative, and then you just make them better over time. And I just think it's gonna accelerate, and I think that's why digital transformation, right? All of these things being said, I think that's why it's at the top of every CEO or owner's agenda. And what what could have been done in 5 years is now being done in months, Amy. And the acceleration, the speed to impact, it's just incredible. And we're seeing it in so many adjacent industries, not just ours.
Go ahead, and I'll come back.
Okay. Yeah, it goes back to the cost of those resources and how do you reduce those costs, improve your net profit margins. Obviously, everyone in this room works on that. But as far as the technology front, one of the benefits I get, I'm very blessed to get to see these different industries. We have one of these businesses we bought in New York City called Site Comply, and there's a product called InCheck. And what they're doing is, as a maintenance person, they're driving around different properties. They pull up, there's geofencing that tells them, okay, you're at this property. It automatically tells them what tasks they have to do. And we're just going to get there. Maybe Breezeway already has that, but you're going to get there where it's so intelligent, it's telling you. And in addition, these are the top 3 things you have to do first, and then get to this.
Yeah, I think one of the things I thought was cool in one of your platforms is the scheduling, the driving scheduling.
Oh, yeah,
by
that's
mapping. That's really like making sure even with traffic patterns that people can get to house, like reorder their work orders based on speed. That was really cool. But innovation. Now wait, about acceleration. Do you think the acceleration is happening because the databases are stronger and more complete, or do you think like what's really causing this acceleration?
I think we built that underlying platform is important, but also the cost of processing keeps on going down. We can put things on the cloud. We're not having to rely upon going into somebody's on-site, the on-premise, putting a server in somebody's closet somewhere. When you have that in this cloud environment, you can really make those changes in real time, push it out, and be available immediately. And look what we've done in the pandemic. You and I we'd spoken a couple times over Zoom, and now we're finally meeting in person. I mean, we met a little while back, but all these things are able to happen because we've laid this foundation, and we're just going to keep on accelerating.
Yeah, I think the acceleration just continues to move faster and faster. And now there's technology out there where it's codeless, so you can develop things with codeless. You don't even have to be in the code to develop. You can develop. We have people logging into our API and our application, and they're building tools that you're sitting there and like, well, we didn't really envision it 7 years ago to do that. And it's like how sharp our customers are and how they're building on top of our platform. Like that's the ecosystem. That Salesforce that you have, hey, you have the company Salesforce building what they have, but then you have the partners and then you have their customers, and you're able to build on top of that infrastructure and that platform, and the efficiency and the productivity and the innovation and the ideas that come from these people is pretty exciting. And I think that's what is accelerating the innovation, and that's why I think the innovation is just going to continue to add more speed to impact.
Yeah, open APIs. It's all about it's open APIs, and connectivity is fueling that innovation and pushing everybody forward in ways that, 3 years ago, our companies wouldn't have been able to connect. Like the connections didn't exist with any of our partners. Like we've created them over time. We're still creating them and making them stronger. But like they didn't exist, and so you had all of these like separate siloed systems that couldn't talk to each other. which means like the pace of developing a new product in combination with a tool that you're already using was completely hamstrung.
Are the APIs more stable than they used to be?
Absolutely. And secure, they have
Depends
to
on who
be.
you ask, right?
They're absolutely more scalable, and they have to be secure because you open that information, and it's gold. It's more valuable than gold as we've learned. And just a couple weeks ago, there's a group. I'm so happy you brought up the open APIs because I was definitely going to go there. There's a group that reached out and said, "Hey, you know what? We have this platform for sports tournaments for kids. We're tired of staying at hotels. How can we get into more vacation industry?" So they use our API, and now they're surfacing the inventory of our clients who opt in, and they can have that information. It's amazing, and you can't do that without an API.
From a tool provider, I mean, you're connecting to both of these companies through APIs too.
Yeah, they're getting better. They're getting better.
That's true. We should ask you.
Well, you know, actually in the last session,
No,
we
they
had
are.
this-
They are. I mean, I'm
think the
not
hard
I'm
thing
not
for-
being tongue in cheek. They are getting better. I
For
mean,
a property manager, if something goes wrong at the end of the line,
Yeah.
it's hard to know where it broke down. Was it the software, was it the web provider first? Was it the software provider? Was it the channel manager, or was it the channel?
Totally.
You know what I mean? So there was just a session last time about channel connectivity, because sometimes when things break down with like an Airbnb, for example, you don't know that your
Yeah.
properties are not being updated, and it could be one, or it could be your entire portfolio, and it could be a week before anyone even realizes it.
It is a huge. It's a huge challenge, and I think it's hard to find. It's hard to pinpoint in the chain. It takes a little research, even with the connections that we have. But they are getting better, and it just takes time. You have to remember, like for reservation information, those have been around for like 15 years, right? As soon as online bookings came through, Stay USA and some of the first instant software products, those have been around, and now they're mostly rich and robust. Sometimes they get screwed up, like the Airbnb one. Some of the newer types of API integrations, like we're working it out, and there's room to go, but they don't. The nice thing is, like, they don't go backwards, right? There's a baseline that's been established. They're getting better and better and better. And I think we're sort of teasing out all those edge cases so that they can be removed.
I'll geek out for a minute. Maybe we're different, but HomeAway XML, HAXML is still prevalent. It's like, how is that still a thing? But we all use it, and that's if you want to communicate, it's still the best way. So yeah, there's more work to be done.
Is Matt Carlson in the room? I hate to plug your company, but it's like, sorry, you've been around for a little bit with that. But he and Wendy Glover, and there's some IT consultants around here too, but really to help like identify where those problems are. If you need someone quick, we're getting some more of that kind of talent.
And we do need an industry standard. Eventually, it'd be nice to have that XML standard so we can work from that.
The switch?
I have one more question, then I'll come back. Just give me one more.
Bring back the switch?
Oh, no.
The switch.
I don't know what I just walked into.
Oh my gosh. I wrote a why
I had
not.
to do it. I had to do it. We were
I wrote a white
talking about it
paper
at dinner last night.
Back
Who remembers
in the, day
the
called
switch?
Why Not the Switch?
Really?
Yeah.
Why not the switch?
I'll send that to you. It's a blast from Big Vacation Rental History. Innovation. So private equity, we've seen over the years as private equity comes in and starts rolling up companies, sometimes we see those companies stagnate in innovation. Why does that happen?
Yeah, it's a lot of private equity companies when they come in initially, it's all about that bottom line EBITDA. It's so that they can pay down their debt because they use that debt to buy these entities and just pay off that interest rate and grow.
So just cuts.
Just cuts, and including innovation and R&D. Frankly, I wouldn't be at Inhabit if that was the case. I'm an entrepreneur by heart, and I have to build things. I think a perfect example is RevMax. RevMax is one of those concepts that was in Carlos's head when Inhabit bought Streamline, and instead of killing it, said, this is the right idea, it's a big idea. Let's pour more resources into it. Desiree, Maureen, got Josh here. Like, that's the difference, I would say.
But I mean, from a typical fund, right? I mean, a PE fund, you have to pay off that fund in like 3 to 5 years, 3 to 7 years, right? And so anytime you do a roll-up, yes, Streamline may be the lead dog, right? But what happens to the live reses and the other platforms from an innovation standpoint? Because at some point you got to cut out and you got to get to a 40, 50% EBITDA, and then you're going to pour that money into your winning or leading horse, right? So it's not all products are getting equal innovation.
That's
The
fair.
PE firms do have to choose, right? To be fair, they do have to choose their winning horses, right? And that is, you know, that is part of the PE game, you know?
Unfortunately, the market is growing, so like AliveRes, they're able to grow with clients that have the 5, 10, 15 units, and they get in there. So there's a target segment, we're absolutely pouring more dollars in AliveRes as well. So you see those opportunities. But yes, you're right, you look at different, not everyone survives and wins the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Tom.
Tom Goodman, Padre Island Rentals. I love technology, but you guys are scaring the hell out of me. I mean, honestly, I understand what's happening. I understand the technological needs that are there, but I'm concerned that the homogenization of what might happen, we lose the soul of what became vacation rentals in the first place.
Okay, I'm going to add a question mark to it. So, for the property manager who wants to work with a technology provider that is going to stick with them, continue to innovate, you know what I mean? Is it just even possible? I mean, obviously, we're seeing some signs of where your company may be headed, but it's like, I just wonder, no way you don't get bought at some point, Jeremy, come on.
What's that?
No way do you not get purchased at some point, probably by this guy. You know,
I don't know, we haven't met, I'm just
like,
meeting him for the first time.
It is a great company.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got Price Labs sitting here, we've got Wheelhouse, you know what I mean, Key Data's still for sale, AirDNA's for sale, like, at some point, everybody gets rolled up, right? But typically what's happened in our industry is there's always been like a new guy kind of behind it to feed it. I don't know that we see that same number of new guys entering the field. Do you think there is a barrier to entry now that maybe didn't exist before?
I mean, I think there's always going to be new companies. This market and this industry's, the money that's flowing into it, the opportunities, there's going to continue to be more companies that are going to come into this space and try to innovate some part and solve some type of piece of the customer journey, whether that be the owner, guest, or employee. And there's so much runway and so much opportunity left that, I think there's going to continue to be innovation there.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, complex, I say this too often probably. Vacation rental management, it's a super complex business, lots of opportunities that we wouldn't even, that you wouldn't even recognize now will turn up. I think it's up to everybody here to continue to make sure they can foster that creative, innovative environment, right? Like push on your partners, push on your providers, push on them to invest in their open API. If you want to see a competitive, innovative landscape that doesn't homogenize your business, like push on your partners to connect with people and to enable those small companies to be a part of the market and see what they can do for you. And then give them a chance.
Yeah, I think
Give
our
them a
industry
chance.
is super entrepreneurial. And a lot of people sell, but they don't really want to leave the space yet. You know what I mean? So it's like you have a Jeremy who makes his money. He's like, I can build something else. You know what I mean? And so it's like then they come back in. And I think we're seeing that on the PM side too with property managers who sold their company and then coming back like we did after Resort Quest. But it's definitely happening on the tech side. Like Ryan could sell for, I don't know, we're looking at $250 million.
But I think there's forces that the expectations of the guests,
Let's lower that price.
the
But
expectation.
he's worth it,
The expectation of the guests and the owners that's another piece that's accelerating, that's pushing all of us to innovate because, the expectations of these owners, the war on owners. I mean, everyone wants your owner, man. I mean, there are local companies that want your owners that are new startups. Vacasa wants your owners. V-Trip's going to want your owners. All these companies want your owners because you know what? There's only so many 5-bedroom bedrooms in 30A. And if they're spitting out 100, 150,000, I mean, there's only so many of those in the Smokies or in these specific markets. And so that competition
And I
builds
think
that
you see something
innovation
like a
big time.
fire or a hurricane or something like that that could cut it by 30% overnight.
Yep.
Sarah, I'm going to let you and Tim too, if there's anybody. Hey, Amy Gaster.
Hey, Amy. Amy Gaster, Tybee Vacation Rentals. Going back to, I guess, the heart and soul of it is I do think that we develop partnerships with our technology. And we are the heart and soul on our side of the dashboard. And having that symbiotic relationship, we have problems, guests have problems, owners have problems, and when you partner with your tech company to say, hey, we need to figure out how to be able to mobily see the status change when a guest blinks and is thinking about checking out, y'all are going to help us solve that issue. So, I mean, I think the growth is unlimited, and I think the humanization is just going to continue.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in on that because I don't think we addressed his question. I think you backed it up with the soul of what we're trying to accomplish here. And it comes back to the passion of this industry. You're making someone's life better through a vacation. They may have been saving up for it. Some people their entire life, some people maybe 6 months, or maybe they're spending their stimulus check. But it's really important to them to actually have that experience. So through technology, we can bring that to them to know, and I learned this at Expedia. It was pretty fascinating. We did actually a second city exercise where we brought in different travelers, and they shared their experiences of what stressed them out on vacation. Someone that has, they need wheelchair access. Through our technology, we need to make sure that's there. Am I actually seeing the ocean or not? My dream is to wake up and look at the ocean and have coffee. If I don't have that balcony that has that, they may think they have ocean view, but it's really kind of a little window slot. So we can do I think True Places here. We're not buying them, but the great product, they can show, how you're looking at it and the experiences. I think that's how we bring the soul, and we keep the soul in it and make it right in the heart of the individual. So instead of making it this soulless, I just want to pay $250 a night. I'm paying $250, but this is the experience, this is the amenities, this is how I feel when I buy it.
I'm beginning to feel better.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
If not, we have a cocktail coming in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I like that. Nice.
I know, where are they? They were supposed to be here.
Yeah, this party's getting better.
They were supposed to bring them in. April Burns.
Uh-oh, you're gonna get mad.
No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. April Burns has
You wouldn't
rocked it.
like
By
her
the
when she's
way,
angry.
I don't know if you guys know, but my event, the person who was supposed to be our event manager didn't come at the last minute because she was exposed to her grandchildren who had COVID, so we couldn't bring anyone that was exposed. But anyway,
Well, thank you
so
for being
April
thoughtful.
Burns from IC&D has stepped up, and Sue Jones. My gosh. Last year at Darm, we had a hurricane that blew us out on day 2, and Corinne and Heather Richer had to step in. It's like, I get by with a little help from my friends. Any questions? Vinny?
Hey guys, so there's been, I think, over the last couple of years, and I'll be careful to use the term fear-mongering, but there's been definitely a lot of concern amongst people, and I think it's unfounded concern, and I'm coming from the other side of the table. I'm a small independently owned tech company, and I think...
By the way, Vinny is the founder of Cyrus Software and Vacation Rental Software in Florida.
Thank you. But really what I'm saying is I think these concerns are unfounded. I think when you go out there, you should be looking at what technology makes sense for your business, and you're looking at 3 amazing vendors on the stage who genuinely provide amazing technology either within their group or within one platform. I think the right thing to do when looking at your business is just look at this platform in front of me. Does it do what I need it to do, and do I believe in the future vision of that corporation? And if the answer is yes, I don't think you should worry about the size of that corporation. That's where the soul is, right? Is what do they believe their vision is? And I think you can be as big as Inhabit or as small as some of our competitors who have recently joined the scene in the last couple of years and equally be a part of that soul. But just coming from the other side, I get a lot of leads come into our company every day saying, our company's been bought up by these big guys. We want to come over to your platform. And I coach my sales guys and say, why are they coming over? If it's an emotional move, we should probably really be thinking about coaching them to look at their platform properly. So I think the point I'm trying to make here is take the technology that's right for you. Don't make an emotional decision on who owns that company or what big corporation owns that company. I don't think that's a smart move for your business. I think looking at what you need is.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense, and it really, there is kind of our industry is such a Robin Hood-y kind of industry, you know what I mean? We're all about the underdog and the entrepreneurial spirit, and there is kind of a fear of large companies that I think that we're just going to have to face head on. You know, that's just where we're headed. And it does, just because a company is big doesn't make it bad.
And you know, in Silicon Valley right now, there's some kid or somebody giving a pitch at a startup conversation in a room like this, talking
Where did
about.
Andrew Kitchell go?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're going to be there, and it's because Airbnb goes public at $100 billion, and everyone thinks, you know, and I'm talking everyone thinks, well, heck, I could build a property management system, and they don't think so I'm going to build my own. It's happening right now.
I agree with that. Anything else here? It's a, I see it's a 0. So that's my time. Jeremy, Ryan, Eric, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for supporting this event too. I really appreciate it. It's been an amazing time, and it could not have happened with you guys. So thank you very much.
Appreciate
Awesome
it.
job, Amy.
Yes,
Thank
well done,
you.
Amy.